for COVID-19. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang tells us the president was expected to speak at the annual conference of Latino civil rights and advocacy group Unidos US in Las Vegas.
This is a complete turn of events. We were all waiting for the president. He was delayed by more than an hour. We knew that the president of Unidos US was expected to introduce him, so she walks up on stage and she delivers remarks that the president has tested positive for COVID and he regrets that he's not able to be at the event today.
The White House confirming that President Biden is having mild symptoms and will self-isolate after testing positive. An investigation is underway into a deadly police shooting Tuesday in Milwaukee's King Park neighborhood, roughly 4 blocks from the Republican National Convention's soft security zone. Mayor Cavalier Johnson Wednesday praising the response of the Columbus officers who shot and killed a man who appeared to be brandishing 2 knives towards an unarmed individual at 14th and Vliet.
The information we have leaves a clear impression that these Columbus officers, they saved the life of an unarmed man from death or perhaps serious injury.
MPD releasing a statement today saying it's made adjustments to ensure that an MPD officer is assigned to not only forward-facing roles, but also specialty units such as bicycles. Greenfield police are leading the investigation. Law enforcement officials investigating the assassination attempt on former President Trump telling lawmakers in an unclassified briefing that 20 minutes passed between when Secret Service snipers first spotted the shooting suspect, Thomas Matthew Crooks, and when shots were fired. ABC News Justice and Homeland Security reporter Jack Date has more.
Why he went without being confronted by law enforcement for that period of time is going to be a key question as investigators move forward and as the Homeland Security review occurs of this incident.
Crooks fired his first shots at 6:12. He was killed by Secret Service 26 seconds later, according to law enforcement. Is Donald Trump a changed man in the wake of the assassination attempt? Many people visiting Milwaukee for the RNC say yes.
He looked humbled by what had happened to him, and I appreciated that.
Celeste Biagini has had the opportunity to see Donald Trump many times. She lives in Washington, D.C., so a Trump spotting isn't anything new, especially during his past time in office. But she says this week here in Milwaukee is different.
I like seeing, quite frankly, a little bit more subdued Donald Trump. I like that he's up for the fight and he's strong.
Senator Philip Wheeler of Kentucky is also noticing a change.
There was a gravitas that was something new and exciting, and I think the party feels very confident going into November.
Jessica Tai, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Sighting Unlimited. WTMJ News time is 6:04.
Celebrate 42 years of tradition at Milwaukee's original house party. Join us on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront, July 26th, 27th, and 28th for authentic German food, music, beer, and dancing. Experience the excitement of the Glockenspiel, Dachshundderby, Culture Village, Mardi Gras Show, Trauchenschau, Sheep's Head Tournament, and much more. For more information, tickets, and admission discounts, visit GermanFest.com. Don't miss the fun. See you at GermanFest. Holla!
Are you ready to start a meaningful career in healthcare? Are you looking for a job that fits your work-life balance? Become a certified direct care professional today and make life better for older adults or people with a disability. WIS Caregiver Careers makes it easy with free online training plus earn a $500 bonus. See your name on Wisconsin's Certified Direct Care Registry. Sign up today at wiscaregivercdcp.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. The American League rallying to beat the National League 5-3 in the 2024 All-Star Game. Both Brewers started the Midsummer Classic. Contreras and Yelich both going 0-2. The Brewers return to the field Saturday in Minnesota. Taking a look at your roads now, it is your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We got a crash on 94 eastbound right at 26th Street and St. Paul Avenue. It is off on the right shoulder. It looks like you're going to see a couple brake lights coming out of the stadium as you approach that crash, but it's not causing too much of a delay. We've got a disabled vehicle on 43 southbound at the ramp from Keefe, and we've also got a slowdown on Hampton, or on 43 southbound from Hampton past Capitol down to about Keefe. Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. We're going to have some sprinkles early tonight, mainly clear and comfortable, low of 60. Thursday, sunny and beautiful, a high of 78. Friday, sunny skies, a high of 81. Saturday, sunny and warm, a high of 83. Sunday, sunny, a little bit humid, slight chance of showers late, and a high of 83. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 6:08.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. This is Impact 2024, inside the RNC, broadcasting live from Media Row. Here are your hosts, Dr. Ken Harris and John McCure.
Hey, we're glad that you're hanging out with us. Dr. Ken Harris is here with me, 1017 The Truth, but maybe the brightest guy that's in our building. So I love doing the show with him, and we are broadcasting live from UWM Panther Arena. The deal is underway down the street in Fiserv. Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina is at the podium as we speak. It's a very full program. We'll get into that as we go through things today. And we'll actually this evening kind of maybe dip into some things, and we'll let you know what's going on at Fiserv. I want to start with a story that you brought to my attention. I was so wrapped up in my show that I didn't see this anywhere. F-35 scrambled? What happened?
Well, the North American Aerospace Defense Command F-35 responded today to a temporary flight restriction violation. That's a nice way of saying that some knucklehead in a little small, probably single-engine prop plane or something was kind of goofing around, and radar picked up a track of interest that was not in communication with air traffic control inside the restricted airspace. In other words, they called them and they didn't respond.
Yep.
So they sent up aircraft. Now, I find it funny is they were very clear to say they didn't send up an aircraft. They sent up aircraft. That means that some nice, possibly 70-year-old guy out for it's a beautiful day today. It's in the 70s.
Beautiful
the sun
day.
is out. Low cloud cover. Everything is beautiful. And all of a sudden, two F-35s roll up on each side to say, hey, buddy, you didn't answer your radio. Where are you going?
Can you imagine? So 71-year-old Alfred says over lunch to Gertrude, you know, we've wanted to do some stuff since we retired. Let's take the plane up. Yeah. Let's go out to Timmerman. Let's get in the airplane in the Cessna, and we're flying around a little bit. And, hey, there's this thing going on downtown, and you're flying around. The propeller's going. Maybe you got a couple sandwiches in the car. You got a Diet Coke in the plane with you.
And then all of a sudden
the F-35.
You're like, wow, what was that, Ethel? And you look over, and there's this big gray.
So then when you look,
missiles hanging off the bottom.
This is the state-of-the-art plane that they just got in Madison that is the most powerful and expensive in the world.
Yes.
So how does this work? They come up next to you. You hear them and you see them. You look over, and then do the pilots look over at you and point down to the ground? Do they?
Well, they've got ways to move and tilt to let you know, follow them. Raise them on the radio and say, hey, follow us, so you need to go to this vector to get out of, restricted airspace. Luckily, they were nice enough to stop it in southwest of Milwaukee because, a few more miles, and they were about 4,400 feet, so you could literally see them from the ground, and it was like,
Can you imagine, seriously, if they had flown a couple more miles and they were into the well, they wouldn't get to the security zone, but they were that a decision would have been had to be made, right?
Well, they could have boxed it in. So one of the things that they'll normally do is, let me see what parts I can say and what parts I can't. They can box an airplane in to the point where they can box it in on three sides. So and then just literally start to lower. So there's nowhere for you to go unless you're going to crash into a F-35.
I was just going to say that's the danger, but that's danger for the pilots too. I mean, even a Cessna, if it smashes into the wing of an F-35,
I'm pretty sure the F-35 can handle it.
It's like an Escalade against
a little gnat. You just smack it, and so they'll quietly force you down and let you go on your way. And I'm sure somebody from the Secret Service or the FBI will meet that person on the ground,
have a little conversation,
about filing flight plans.
Well, we have like every Secret Service agent in America
is right here,
and Homeland Security is in America, so they're probably looking for something to do. They probably met this cat at Timmerman just so they had something to do.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's just a crazy.
But he might have flown out of Illinois. He might have flown out of Waukesha.
Yep.
Racine. It could have been from anywhere. So thank goodness Operation Noble Eagle came to a nice ending today.
Where do you think they're based? Do we know? Are they based out of Madison? Do we know? Or are they closer than that because they want to be close to the zone?
I would say both.
Like maybe there's some at Mitchell.
There's some at Mitchell. There's some in Northern Illinois. There's some in Madison, standing by.
What assets do you believe are on the ground? I know you can only talk about certain things that you know because the president's here.
Right.
Are there not tanks, but there's a lot of stuff here that, God willing, we will never see, right? Is there stuff sitting at Mitchell, sitting in the garage at the Pfister, like high-tech, powerful stuff in case of emergency?
Yes, and there's also at the 128th where there's always a backup of everything. So there's always two of everything that goes everywhere the president goes. But because he's not the president, he's a former president, they're still going to make sure. And especially with the assassination attempt and weeks prior finding out that this Iranian threat, they're going to make sure that they have extra assets on the ground to make sure that no matter what, he's taken care of.
Yeah, they're not going to play.
No.
That is for sure.
No.
Let's do this. Let's take a break. Our colleague Greg Matzik is inside Fiserv Forum where the program is rolling. Let's check in with Greg when we come back. And then Dr. Ken and I have a bunch of stuff we want to discuss during this 2-hour special, which runs until 8 o'clock. You are listening to RNC Impact. Or Inside the RNC. What do we call this show?
Impact 2024.
So I gave you two choices and they're both wrong.
Hey, it's Wednesday, What can
You'd think on the third day I would know the name of the show. We will be back from Panther Arena after the break.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Have you been to the Hounds and Tap yet? In Menominee Falls, this state-of-the-art facility and the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. Grab a drink at the indoor-outdoor tavern, let your dogs hang out. You can even book professional grooming services, from pedicures to full spa treatments. Every day is a play day at the Hounds and Tap. Hang out with your dog and others, or drop your dog off for doggy daycare or doggy boarding services. Check out thehoundsandtap.com. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
Did your home suffer damage from a storm or severe weather? Don't stress any longer. Loyal Family Renovations treats all of its customers like they've joined their personal family, and every project as if the work was being done at their own house. Loyal Family Renovations has a leg up on the competition due to the personal relationships they've built with insurance adjusters over the years. Loyal Family is family-owned, and the loyalty belongs to their customers. Contact them today to get your free home inspection. LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you're in town for the RNC or you just love a world-class free dinner, experience the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club this week. Check it out. I love the Fox and Hounds, one of the most affordable and unique dining destinations in Wisconsin. When I want to show off our state, I show off the Fox and Hounds. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner's free. Enjoy a tender steak, your favorite seafood or pasta dish, a big fresh salad, even the steak and lobster, any dinner on the menu. The second one is free. Desserts, I love those, are also buy one, get one free. The Fox and Hounds is tucked into the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest. Spectacular setting just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is a Wisconsin summer must-see. That patio in the woods is spectacular. Buy one dinner tonight, get one free at the Fox and Hounds, now welcoming reservations for large RNC groups. For everybody in the group, you buy one dinner, you get one free. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024, Inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Okay, Dr. Ken, I'm writing this down. Impact 2024 at the RNC. Julia Fellow left one of her pens here. She's got one of these pens that you had when you were a little kid that has like 5 different colors, and you pick the color.
That's a Julia pen.
That's totally a Julia pen. You are absolutely right about that. Hey, let's check in with what's going on over at Fiserv Forum. The speakers have begun, and there are more speakers scheduled tonight than any other night at the convention. WTMJ's Greg Matzik, you hear him on Wisconsin's Midday News with Jessica Ty every day, is in Fiserv, and he's with us. Greg, are the seats filled?
They are full on the floor, John, no doubt about that. And starting to fill in what would be the first level, so some nice seating if you were here for a Bucks game. 13 speakers in the 6 o'clock hour alone. We are now hearing from Richard Grinnell, the former acting director of National Intelligence. And 111 days away from the election, guys, today's focus is all about foreign policy and at the border. Of course, headlined by the first appearance and comments of J.D. Vance. Since becoming the vice presidential nominee, his wife will also speak in the 9 o'clock hour. First speaker out of the chute in the 9 o'clock hour, Donald Trump Jr., of course, Mr. Trump's son. We expect Mr. Trump to be here as well. It's interesting, right? I take a lap around. I saw one visible Bucks logo. So if you had no idea the lay of the land here in Milwaukee, I did a one-lap tour. I posted it to my social media looking for Bucks logos. The only green you see is on the exit signs. Otherwise, you've got this fire engine red carpeting. You've got this beautiful blue, of course, with the red, white, and blue. The ribbon board is a cross-section of the American flag. There is nothing green or Bucks-related in view.
Is there a lot of media down on the floor, or do you get the sense they're not there yet and they're waiting 3 hours from now when JD shows up?
Well, there's so many different places, John, where media can stage, right? You've got what would be the upper-level section at Fiserv Forum, where I currently am, overlooking the left side of the stage. So I'm in what would be the northwest corner of the arena, and I look down, and there is also a staging area with local press, national press. Of course, the suite area is occupied by everything from the BBC News on the left to C-SPAN on the far right, and every national outlet and network in between. So you've got media sort of all over the place, mainly at suite level. That's where the big boys are at with regard to media. And they're starting to circulate behind the delegations that are on the floor. And if you've not been in the floor, you've got the central stage set up, which would be about the point where Brooke Lopez might jump for a jump ball to begin a Bucks game, looking over the congregations of Florida, Indiana, and Oregon to a 100-inch screen that has the teleprompter. The other teleprompters are flanked where players would run out of the tunnel and onto the floor. About an 85-inch TV, which allows speakers on stage to sort of work the room from left to right. They're always in view of the teleprompter. And it's not hard to find Texas in here, John, because everybody's got a giant hat on, a big cowboy hat, and they wave those at every opportunity.
WTMJ's Greg Matzik. We'll check back in a couple minutes, okay?
Sounds good, guys.
Hey, producer Brandon, can you do we have the live feed ready to go yet?
Give me about 30 seconds and we will.
Okay, Matt Gaetz, Dr. Ken, calling an audible here. I don't know if you want to do this, but throughout the evening, let's take some of the more interesting speeches. And by interesting, sometimes I mean crazy. Matt Gaetz from Florida, who got in a fight with this former Speaker of the House on the floor today. As the Speaker was filming an interview, is now taken to the stand.
Wow.
When we can get Matt Gaetz up, here we go.
Witness protection program more often than we saw unscripted Biden. Under Biden-Harris, America has fallen sicker, lonelier, and poorer. Under Trump, we prospered, we were richer, inflation was low, and there were 2 genders. Under Biden-Harris, inflation has gotten so bad you can no longer bribe Democrat senators with cash alone. You have to use gold bars just so the bribes hold value.
We'll bring that down, Brandon. Continue to monitor that for us if you can, and we'll just kind of see what happens as we head through the rest of the day. It's 6:21. Let's take a break. We'll continue with Impact 2024 at the Republican National Convention in just a minute.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents, and the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
Boy, it can be so expensive to dine out, but not at the family-owned Mineshaft restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here, and the Mineshaft has lowered the price of their Wednesday and Friday fish fry, to listen closely, $6.99, and it's all you can eat. $6.99. For smaller appetites, the two-piece dine-in fish fry is $4.99. What a value. Kids 5 and under eat free today from the kids menu. That's right, free. And they can safely play in that world-class game room quietly tucked away from the dining area. You can also build your own big burger or chicken sandwich today with a huge pile of hot fries for under $10. The Mineshaft right there in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh with lots of seating, plenty of close parking, fired up air conditioner. It's big food. It's big fun. No reservations needed. Just walk in today for your all-you-can-eat fish fry for under $10. The best part of the meal, desserts, or buy one, get one free. Welcome to the cool and comfortable Mineshaft restaurant.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. But there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperfiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
Ask about our finance options.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
John Mercure and Dr. Ken Harris with you. Callista Gingrich, former ambassador to the Holy See, is now speaking at the Republican National Convention as the procession continues. The other breaking news today related to politics is that Joe Biden, according to the White House, has tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
Is this a thing? Is this a big deal? Is it a bigger deal because he's 81 years old and people think he's maybe compromised? Is this a big deal?
Well, you know they said things happen in threes, right? So we got the Iran, we got the shooting. So Trump is due another one, right? This is Biden's second, right? You know, the debate, now COVID. So, you know, both of them are due one, but I don't know which one it's going to be. I want to run something past you that I heard that I hadn't thought about. And someone made a prediction. So this, I love connecting disparate dots, like stuff that's happening over here. Not in the conspiracy area, but something that goes, no, I didn't think about that. AT&T, our favorite, phone folks, just had a data breach, right?
Yep.
They took their data. We don't know why they didn't keep their data in-house, but they sent it to a third party, right? So for the last 6 months, 100% of the people who made a phone call, talked on a phone call, or sent or received a text, someone else has everything, 100%.
Yep.
Baby, I love you. Hey, guy, I hate you. I hope you die. I hope you live. Whatever it was you wrote, they have it.
Yep.
You think before November 5th, something's going to break from that? Hey, look at this text I found.
Oh, that's interesting.
Look at this phone call I found.
He's got a baby mama.
And
He's
it's
cheating
gonna
on his
impact
wife.
Who? Trump? Or Biden? Or Harris? Who? Or J.D. Vance?
More likely Trump, because he's more likely to be sending just something crazy. Biden probably doesn't know how to use his phone anymore, so it's probably not him.
Okay.
That is interesting to think about, though.
Right. Because you've got somebody young like J.D. Vance who's literally half the age of Trump.
Right, literally.
So now I use my phone all the time. I text all the time.
Yeah.
I'm on Snapchat. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm on X. I'm on all the social media. And now every single thing you sent from your phone, no matter what condition, they have a copy.
If your phone information got released, is there anything on there that would be embarrassing to you?
I'm sure it is. And I have AT&T.
Me too.
Only problem is I don't really know how to be embarrassed. So.
Well, is there anything on there you'd be ashamed if people knew about? Like, I'm not talking about financial information. Is there anything on there that you would be like, damn, wish my wife didn't see that, wish my boss didn't see that? Is there anything on there?
Let me see. I've probably made disparaging remarks about white people. Black people, Hispanic people, Asian. I don't think. If I hate, I'm an equal opportunity, right? I mean, at some point, you have to give people their privacy where oh my God, John said something about somebody black. Okay. Yeah. Like, at some point, you have to grow beyond people in their own private head and their private space saying something. So I think if something gets released, it's going to be very specific to a person to turn this election around.
I have no expectation of privacy. When I carry this thing around,
none.
I assume so. When people say, "Oh, Apple's listening to me," of course they are. I don't really care. Like, anybody who's dumb enough to think that there's any real privacy on these things, and to your point, we might find out with AT&T in October.
Sure.
So back to the COVID thing. If Joe Biden were not able to continue because of COVID, this could be the best thing that happened to Democrats. This could be their best chance to win the White House if something were to happen to him and he were to be done. Maybe they realize that. His favorite drink, he told Us Weekly, is orange Gatorade. That's Joe Biden's favorite drink.
Right.
He doesn't drink alcohol. He nor Trump drink any alcohol.
Right.
His favorite drink in the world is orange Gatorade.
But do you think because they're that old, they've drank enough alcohol?
Probably.
That's how they got that old?
Maybe.
It's like formaldehyde,
I think it's keeping me young.
Yeah.
Maybe someone who thinks that it would give Democrats a better chance to win actually put a little COVID in his Gatorade.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think you really do that, but...
Wow. Or did he share it?
Maybe he shared it.
Here, honey, want some?
Is Dr. Jill, so he's resting, didn't it say, at his house in Delaware?
Resting at his house in Delaware, isolated. Ms. Jean-Pierre said that the president planned to isolate at his home in Delaware while he, quote, carries out all the duties fully during that time, before 8 o'clock p.m., I think.
That was talked about a lot over the convention. I was on the floor yesterday. On the floor yesterday, every speaker, it seemed like, said, we need a president who can work after 8 o'clock. That was the big line. So is Dr. Jill not with him? I don't know. I don't even know what the protocol is anymore. Does he have to isolate? Does he have to stay away? For how long?
I would say 5 days.
Why? Do we isolate when we have the flu?
Well, because there was information that that didn't really get disseminated well, that all the stuff that Fauci talked about was basically made up. He pulled it out of his vest pocket and, well, make it 10 days. Make it 5.
All right, but I'm not being a smartass. Why do we not have a rule that we isolate when you have the flu?
I don't know.
Because the flu is highly contagious and more deadly.
Yes.
So if we still have this dumb rule about COVID...
But we don't have one about the flu.
Why? Why do we just say we don't have the COVID isolation rule anymore? Use common sense. If you don't feel good, stay home. But we have these protocols in place that we don't have for the flu.
So I can tell you I can come to work sick and you'll say you need to go home, but you'll never send me home, even though I have a cold or the flu. But if I tell you I might have COVID, you restrict me from coming to work.
Right.
And you tell me I have to stay home, even though I took a vaccine that's 89, 90% effective, when the flu vaccine on a really good day is like 62%.
All right, so tell me the truth. With all the stuff going on at the convention this week, if you woke up on Monday morning and you thought you had the flu and didn't feel good, would you still have come to work this week?
Yep.
Me too.
Yep.
I would be doing this show. I'd be doing this show from the ICU.
You can't miss
this week.
Can't miss it.
I would absolutely be here. So I don't know if you realize this, but on last Friday, I didn't feel good. And I was so nervous about the big week coming up that on Friday before I came into work, I went to the doctor and I said, it was a very, very sore throat. I said, can you give me a strep test for RSV, give me antibiotics, do whatever, because come Monday I got to be feeling well. I told my co-host Julia this. She went to Walgreens and spent $124 and bought me every single over-the-counter drug and a fancy humidifier and gave it to me in a big Walgreens bag. And then I went home over the weekend and I thought, man, am I going to have a decision to make? And the strep test and everything came back negative.
Right.
He said, well, you got a virus. You got a summer cold. You got a really bad throat. And my voice was disappearing. And I was thinking to myself, my gosh, if I wake up on Monday and I feel this bad, and it was so bad that it hurt to talk, am I going to miss the convention, or knowing that I may have some disease, including the plague, am I going into work? And it was pretty much, I was going to tell everybody, I feel fine. I'm fine. I would have went into work. Are you serious right now?
Well, should I break it to John that I did the same thing only on Thursday and got a strep test because my throat was like... And
Thursday, the day before I felt bad?
The day before, got a strep throat
You gave
test.
this to me.
No.
We were both in the building. I'm not saying you kissed
We weren't
me.
even in the same room.
You're in that common. You sitting on that common area all the time. And I did the same thing because I didn't feel good, and I still came into work. I'm sure I probably gave it to people.
So you actually made me sick.
So you gave it to me. Right. I gave it to whoever ended up not feeling good over the weekend. So was your test negative too?
Negative.
Yeah, mine too.
He said you have postnasal drip, and your scratchy throat is because you have postnasal drip. I said, what do you mean? They said, when you go to sleep and it runs,
okay, that's what I had too.
They said, that's all it is. Here, take this. And
me too.
Use some Flonase, and you'll be done.
Me too.
And then they said something really bizarre. I'm going to give you a prescription for Flonase. And I looked at her and I said, what? Why? She said, because I can get it to you for $6. If you buy it over the counter, it's $13. I was like,
really?
Wow. Sure enough.
Same product.
Sure enough.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it was great.
Wow.
Maybe Biden did do something good.
Maybe he did.
Okay, that's one.
He undoubtedly did. He did some stuff that's good.
Yeah.
At least one thing.
But the weird thing about it is, even through all the politics and who's going to be president, has America really changed? You know, we talk about conservative and liberal, but we all know that inside the Beltway, there's no real difference between people. Their kids go to school together. Their wives eat dinner and lunch together. They do all sorts of things together. Play dates, dinner, all that. So it's a little disingenuous that, as soon as the camera turns on, that John, I can't stand him. He's terrible, and he's going to tear up the country.
Yep.
And then they go on break, and it's like, where are we going to dinner tonight?
Yeah, it is really disingenuous. That's a perfect way to put it. Let's take a break. At 6:34, you're listening to Impact RNC.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you, who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Every great Midwest bank branch has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Michael Quizon is IT Systems Administrator. Michael, the bank has a slogan.
We are called Simply Local. We're a Simply Local bank.
And your business technology company, James Imaging Systems, has been a 100% locally owned and managed company right here in Wisconsin for over 40 years.
They're more like a partner to us.
In what way?
We call on them at any point, they're there. We ask them any questions that we have, they're there.
James Imaging Systems, document imaging technology, and local service and support.
We can get our printers up and running right away if we have any issues. We can do our business without any downtime at all.
The benefit to Great Midwest Bank?
Efficient operations, time savings on my end. There's no other partner that we can bring on.
Start your partnership with James Imaging Systems today. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Celebrate 42 years of tradition at Milwaukee's original house party. Join us on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront, July 26th, 27th, and 28th for authentic German food, music, beer, and dancing. Experience the excitement of the Glockenspiel, Dachsunterried, Culture Village, Mardi Gras Show, Trauchenschau, Sheep's Head Tournament, and much more. For more information, tickets, and admission discounts, visit GermanFest.com. Don't miss the fun. See you at GermanFest.
When traveling at 20 miles per hour, the average stopping distance is about 40 feet.
That stopping power is calculated in both thinking and braking distance.
And assuming you've got the thinking and braking part down, the only thing left is good tires.
Just Google Richlands to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 convenient locations.
And rest assured, we'll put you in the right tire no matter what sort of vehicle you drive.
Plus, every tire purchase that we install automatically comes with our free flat tire protection plan.
5 conveniently located facilities, all AAA approved.
And all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to install your tires.
So Google Richlands
or go to richlands.com.
And remember to be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you have good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for tire service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit fredert.com/cancer.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
John Mercure and Dr. Ken Harris are with you. I'm with WTMJ. He's with 1017 The Truth. We appear to have some breaking news this afternoon. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporting that MPD officers will accompany all visiting bicycle units after that fatal shooting.
Makes sense.
Okay, okay. Elaborate your reaction to this news.
They know the neighborhoods, they know the people. Many of them will patrol the areas that they already know. So it comes down to, for instance, this is just an example. If I already know John, and John has, diminished mental capacity, and, we've known John for 4 or 5 years, and he's been homeless, we're going to, hey, John, recognize me? We may take a little more time to deal with the situation because this is like the 8th or 9th time I've seen this guy with a knife. Yeah. Like, dude, what are you doing?
And you know the neighborhood. You know the people. Sure. You know that. That's your turf.
Right.
So my question leading off of that is, should this have been this way from the beginning?
You can't know that until something happens. You can only do your best because this is what's worked in the past. so this is what we'll do this time.
But when we're planning and thinking, we hire people to plan and think about what may be, like you say, this is a great idea. Well, don't you sit around and decide what's a great idea and what we should maybe do and not do?
Sure. However, what is going to happen? See, I just told you what we're going to do.
Yep.
I didn't tell you the effect that it's going to have on the rest of the RNC. So now I've got to find an officer, take them off of their assignment, and put them with these groups. And I've seen at least 4 different foreign law enforcement agencies with bicycles around here, including Secret Service. So what do? Now I have to find at least 4 cops. And I needed to bring in 4,000 to make sure I had help. Now I have to find some cops.
There's cops everywhere. We can find four cops.
They don't fall out of the rain.
They do during the RNC. There are clusters of police officers inside the security perimeter that are begging for something to do.
They can't, though, because their job, their assignment, and their mission is to be at that spot 12 hours a day for 4 straight days.
Right. And inside of here, when you walk from here to Fiserv, at every intersection you go through, a group of those cops that are there assigned there doing their thing.
And it's the same cops.
Yep.
Same thing with the neighborhood, right? Same cops every time. The more they're familiar with you, you're familiar with them. And now the communication and the experience and the relationship gets better as the week goes on.
That makes sense.
So that's why we need to put cops with them so that that relationship with the community can continue on. But now you got this guy who doesn't know his head from a hole in the wall and says, hey, I see knives, right? How many times has that probably happened between those two? And then nobody got killed, right?
Well, they're indicators of that. They're indicators that the first guy in the past had been the one to threaten the second guy, that these guys know each other, and so on and so forth.
Right. And these instances with what they call unhoused people have been going on. I remember working in District 1 as a sergeant, and on my way to work, and I'm like, why can't I get to work? Why is Wisconsin completely blocked at the river? It's like, 2 homeless guys got in a fight, and so a group of homeless guys grabbed him and threw him in the river. You know, and you think about that, but you realize that there's a lot of tension within that homeless community, and those things have to be dealt with, and that's why you assign homeless, officers who work with just homeless people, and they develop that relationship. And again, who knows? If we had an officer who was familiar with Mr. Sharp, this may not have occurred.
Maybe. You're right. We just don't know. You tell me oftentimes that you don't know what you don't know. We just don't know. That's why we need to let the investigation play out.
Absolutely.
So I had asked you during the break your thoughts on releasing the body cam footage. I thought from a lot of angles it was brilliant because today it put the story to rest. Yep. We on my show from 3 to 6 literally didn't talk about the shooting because in our newscast it talked about the body cam footage and what it purported to show. So by releasing the footage right away, it put the story to rest. It made it disappear. Are there disadvantages to having released that body cam footage so soon?
Yes, because you have to go through all of the witnesses. You have to go through all of the officers, anybody that you might have to Mirandize, like all those things, all that investigation is still going on. It's sort of a preliminary thing, right? We have enough information to realize that in the end, and I'm sure someone went to the district attorney's office, they're not going to charge. Now, may it become a civil matter? Sure. But they're not going to charge these officers because they were literally, it's in living color, defending another person's life. And you can defend yourself, in the defense of force or others. Right? So that third party who's being injured, you can defend them as well.
So there were roughly 10 officers. We don't know the details, but in the video you can kind of get a sense. Is that what it was, 13?
Yes.
Okay, 13. So here's my question. If 5 of them fired shots, those 5 are going to be on administrative leave and investigation,
correct,
blah, blah, blah. Do they send the whole unit back to Columbus? Do they backfill those 5 positions? Does the unit likely now move forward with 8 instead of 13? What do you believe is likely to happen to that group that was 13, goes down to 8, and is still working here? Or does the whole unit go back to Columbus?
The whole unit goes back to Columbus.
So, sorry, you guys, because in ongoing investigation, we're pulling you off the street.
Well, not necessarily that. You all just went through a traumatic event together.
Yeah.
So then that means that you need to be spoken to. There needs to be a debriefing together. You can't debrief with 5 people in Columbus, Ohio, and 8 people in Milwaukee. You want them all together. You want to debrief together. You want to be able to talk about it together. And so the best thing to do would be to send all of them back.
Do we have enough extras floating around here that they probably have somebody else they could move into the role of those 13?
Sure.
Or do we just kind of say, how does that work?
Well, you would thin out those other bike troops, groups, and make them smaller so they're more self-contained. You'll also make sure that you track where they go, what neighborhoods they go in, and they'll make sure every single person is briefed every morning on the night's crimes that occurred prior, right? They were about a mile away, which is about normal. When we traveled to cities, went to Chicago for the G8 or whichever one it was, we went to so many, G20.
Right.
You may be nowhere near downtown. You may be on the near south side of Chicago, standing outside Erie Crown Theater, McCormick Place, and they're over at McCormick Place all the way west. So it's just where you end up. But they rarely put non-city cops in a place where they would interact with the public like that. That was an anomaly. That was just one of those weird things.
All right, Greg Matzek, WTMJ's Greg Matzek is inside the Republican National Convention. Fiserv Forum is just down the road here from us a little bit. Greg Matzek joins us from inside Fiserv Forum up next on WTMJ and 101.7 The Truth.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Calling all queen bees. Are you a woman landowner, farmer, farm worker, urban grower, prairie protector, agricultural consultant, or conservation professional? If so, Wisconsin Farmers Union invites you to participate in their collaborative effort called Wisconsin Women in Conservation. The goal of this project is to get women owners and growers the knowledge, resources, networks, and support to make their land stewardship dreams come true. Join in via webinars, farm tour field days, learning circle events, and potlucks in your region. If you've been wanting to learn about cover crops, pollinator habitat, season extending high tunnels, managed grazing, soil health, or raised beds in your community garden, this is a group for you. Find out more and subscribe to the Buzz newsletter and the Queen Bees Session podcast at wiwic.org. Follow Wisconsin Women in Conservation on Instagram and Facebook. Come join our girl gang at Wisconsin Women in Conservation.
Hey, boaters!
It's a boater's do-it-yourselfer's dream store. Kendor Marine stocks thousands of boat parts and supplies. Just about everything you'd ever need to keep your boat up and running. Whether it's common or something you think might be discontinued, you can bet on us having it. So don't be surprised when we have just what you need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey, boaters!
Some call them oddball parts, but we call them a huge part of our inventory. Dave Doro here from Kendor Marine. With thousands of boat parts and supplies stocked right here in our store, you won't have to look elsewhere. If you need it, chances are we got it, along with expert advice to get your job done right. Hey, boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC on WTMJ.
All right. Dr. Ken Harris is here. I'm John Mercure. Thanks for being with us. The RNC is underway down the street in Fiserv Forum. They kind of build as the evening goes on. It's not even 7 o'clock yet, but more speakers tonight scheduled than any other night during the convention. Right now, it's Thomas Homan, the former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They've talked a lot about the border, and he is there. Don't want to steal his thunder. Let's bring in Greg Matzek, WTMJ's Greg Matzek, who is there inside Fiserv. Greg, good evening. How are things going over there?
Doing pretty well, John. As you mentioned, Thomas Homan on stage, and he is one of 13 speakers here in the 6 o'clock hour alone. What is interesting is that many of the speakers have official titles. As you mentioned, Thomas Homan, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Peter Navarro just got off the stage, former director of the U.S. Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. But sprinkled in each hour, they have everyday Americans, that's how they're listed in the rundown, who are scheduled to talk about some of the bigger issues facing the country. Of course, illegal immigration, a hot-button topic here, as well as just, national safety and so on. So it's kind of an interesting twist that you have these everyday Americans mixed in with these career politicians.
It's interesting, Greg, because I've heard people complain and be flattered about the everyday American stuff. And they made a very conscious decision that late in the program, in what the past had been prime slots, they're running these everyday American stories, which have been powerful. Nikki Haley did not run during prime time on the TV networks. Instead, they ran everyday American pieces. You're there in the arena. Are they powerful? Are they effective? Do they seem to resonate with the delegates?
Well, I think if you look at the order here, John, there's probably going to be a growing sense of awe and interest from the folks who are here in attendance, all the delegations, media, and so on. And the classic example is William Pickrell. He's an everyday American. He's also a World War II veteran. He is positioned at the end of the 8 o'clock hour when more eyes are going to be on this from a TV perspective. I would imagine the ovation for William Pickrell, a true American hero and World War II veteran, is going to be slightly more impactful than an everyday American talking about immigration. That's just me. But that leads right into the 9 o'clock hour.
He's from Wisconsin too, Greg.
Yes, which is another great tie. And while the delegation in here may not, think specifically about that aside of those from Wisconsin, just the idea of a World War II veteran on stage at the RNC, that's a pretty powerful moment. And he would be the last speaker before Donald Trump Jr., so he is very strategically placed.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. How loud is it in there?
It kind of depends. So the loudest boos are when, I think it was Peter Navarro mentioned Nancy Pelosi and Merrick Garland. That was the loudest boos we heard. You can hear some of the cheers behind me. That's been representative of what I've heard since about 5:30 or so. Matt Gaetz had the biggest round of applause, I think, for anybody who was introduced to the stage, given the news of today. Of course, you haven't had every seat filled yet, and it's only going to ramp up here. Once we get to that 8 o'clock hour, I would expect all of the seats to be filled. We're about 80% of the way full inside Fiserv Forum.
WTMJ's Greg Matzek. We'll check back in with you after 7 o'clock. Thanks, Greg.
You bet.
So when I first looked at the rundown, I thought it was a curious decision not to run more big-name speakers after 8 o'clock and run these everyday American stories. But then as I thought about it, it's a brilliant strategy, and it's gotten really good reviews. Because if you're sitting at home, this is a TV event, so if you're at home and you're watching this, you probably don't really care about hearing from Ron DeSantis as much as a poignant story of a mother who lost a son to fentanyl, or a family that came and immigrated the correct way, and now they run their own business, and it's the shining city on the hill. I like now, the more I thought about it, that these are the stories that are getting recognized more than the politician who never tells us anything anyhow.
and the politicians just go on and on and on, and you start to think, okay, are you going to tell me the same story that I've heard the last 20 times I've heard you? And to listen to the I'm anti-Donald Trump and I'm a never Trumper, and hey, I picked your name out of a hat, now I'm for Trump and I'm speaking at the, at some point you start to see the politics of it play a part. I talked about that with Vice President Kamala Harris. You call Joe Biden a racist and he's the reason why black men are in jail and all this other stuff, and now you're the vice president. So how do you turn that off and on? How do you make people understand that as they learn about your political policies, how's that work? And then you put that everyday American in that says, this is how the policy helped me. This is what this particular candidate did. And this is how it worked for me, and it can work for you. And it's a powerful thing. And when I looked at it, I went, wow, that's a lot of dead air and a lot of dead
I thought the same thing. Exact same thing.
And what? We sat here in that first night, the first two speakers were like, wow.
Yep.
I did not expect that.
Yep, I agree with you. Yeah. And you raise up another interesting point. I find it fascinating that yesterday, inside Fiserv Forum, you had 4 people who Donald Trump had belittled and called names. Right. And now they're endorsing him, and they're willing to, because of their agenda, set all that aside. I mean, he made fun of the size of
everybody,
of their manhood. I mean, Ron DeSanctimonious, he said. Tricky Nicky. He called Ted Cruz Lion Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio, he said, look at the size of the guy's hands. You know what that means.
Right.
And now most of them have come back, and most of them are endorsing Donald Trump, and it's rather remarkable. Although there are a handful that aren't, including Paul Ryan. Says, I'm not going to do it.
And George W. Bush.
Yeah. Mike Pence, his vice president. I mean, that should say a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, if you really think about it, nobody from the Bush administration is supporting him at all.
Yeah. It's really something.
It speaks volumes.
It does. We continue to monitor what's happening at Fiserv Forum down the street. We will keep you updated on that. David Lara, a business activist, is right now at the podium. This goes until 10 o'clock tonight at least. We've got a lot more ground to cover. You're listening to a special edition of Impact 2024 at the Republican National Convention. I'm John Mercure. He's Dr. Ken Harris. We're going to break for news here at the top of the hour, and then we will be back.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
When I think of the word precision, I think of Tadpole and Craig. Oh, you don't know Tadpole and Craig? Well, you should. They're like world-class musicians, except instead of a tuba, they use a tape measure. In lieu of a lute, they labor in lumber. And the only band they know is a bandsaw. Yes, Tadpole and Craig are prodigies of precision when building log cabins and barns. But when it comes to the quartet of plumbing, electric, heating, and air, old Tadpole and Craig can't hold a candelabra to the masterful maestros at Mr. Holland's Home Services. If your drains are clogged, if your air ducts are dirty, if your water heater is nothing more than a water holder, and if your AC stops singing its summer song, call Mr. Holland's Home Services. We provide the perfect harmony of service and installation to keep your house humming. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If your home is out of tune, we can help.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. Put it simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. Keep it tuned here for the most in-depth coverage of every angle of the RNC. This is Decision Wisconsin, presented by Pasternak and Zergabel. We are your central hub for all things RNC. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 7 o'clock, it's 72 degrees. Some sprinkles early tonight, mainly clear and comfortable, though. A low of 60. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. President Biden fighting a number of challenges this week, in addition to testing positive for COVID today. ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl says the president's been under an increasing amount of pressure from top Democrats in Congress to step down from his re-election campaign. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer visiting him at home last weekend.
Absolutely no denial from Senator Schumer's office. They only said this: Leader Schumer conveyed the views of his caucus. In other words, the views of Democratic senators. I am also told that Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, has expressed similar views directly to the president.
President Biden self-isolating in Delaware after the positive COVID test. New details on the man arrested just blocks from Fiserv Forum for carrying a weapon on Monday.
A Scream movie mask, black gloves, spray paint, and empty marijuana bags. Those are some of the items that Homeland Security and U.S. Capitol Police found inside a large tactical backpack that 21-year-old Donnell Tinsley was carrying while wearing a ski mask near the RNC security perimeter. The criminal complaint says the weapon inside the bag was an AK-47 pistol. Tinsley was walking south on 11th Street away from an RNC checkpoint when security personnel noticed him. Tinsley did not have a concealed carry permit for his weapon. He's been charged with a misdemeanor for carrying a concealed weapon. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
An investigation is underway into a deadly police shooting Tuesday in Milwaukee's King Park neighborhood, 4 blocks from the RNC soft security zone. Mayor Cavalier Johnson says the officers involved, who were from Columbus, Ohio, were not in the area seeking to supersede Milwaukee law enforcement.
They were there briefing about the activities of the day. While they were there briefing, not seeking to engage with anybody from my understanding, they then saw the situation that was unfolding.
Body cam footage of the incident showing a man brandishing 2 knives at another person. You can view the full video at WTMJ.com. And some Milwaukee businesses fear the RNC will be a bust for them.
I've heard some restaurants and businesses downtown were expecting a little bit more.
Can confirm Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson getting complaints.
It was definitely not what we were expecting.
Bartender at Elsa's on Cathedral Square. Down the street at Sport Club, General Manager Zach Dott says his lunchtime usual crowd from nearby businesses is gone.
I don't think they're in the office right now, so.
What do you suppose is happening?
I think a lot of people just tried to steer clear of the area.
The business from regulars largely not replaced by convention visitors. Downtown, Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News. Time is 7:03.
There's a reason why we install Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your reputation is on the line, you pick the brand you can trust. It's like our employees. You pick the best to preserve your good name. A guy like me that's been working on furnaces and AC systems for over half my life. I got an eye for the good stuff. And Armstrong Air Pro Series systems fit the bill. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you need a good crew installing a system you can rely on, see the man in the red van.
Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
Emergency service 24/7. Quality Heating has 25 trucks ready to work around the clock to get out there quickly to solve your heating or AC problem. So when that system goes on the fritz and you want to avoid that sweaty summer heat or bypass the fear of frozen feet, the man in the red van can't be beat when it comes to prompt, reliable service. Call Quality Heating for any emergency HVAC need.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
So it's about time you spruce up your home. Nothing major. You're not looking to spend a ton, but you are looking for something that'll give your quarters a little upgrade. You know, there are a lot of things you can do with glass. Simply beveling your mirrors can do wonders. You can mill out your wood cabinet doors and replace the center with attractive glass inserts, or customize them with unique handcrafted artistry, or maybe a theme. You could even install a new glass shower door and add some real appeal to your bathroom. They're all pretty affordable home improvements. And Les's Glass Service has been helping homeowners like you for just about longer than anyone in town. You probably don't realize how affordably we can help you reach your home's full potential. But we do, and we can show you countless options. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. The American League rallying to beat the National League 5-3 in the All-Star game at Globe Life Field in Texas Tuesday night. Both Brewers who were on the All-Star team started. Both went 0 for 2, both Contreras and Yelich. The All-Star break wrapping up this weekend. The Brewers will return to the field Saturday in Minnesota against the Twins. Taking a look at your roads now, it is your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic, and it looks like we're mostly seeing not a ton going on. It looks like things have cleared up. There is a crash on the right shoulder on 94 northbound, half a mile beyond the ramp from Bryan Road. That reported about 20 minutes ago, something to keep an eye out for. Also on 43 northbound in the Hale interchange, right around Layton Avenue, the right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Now time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. There's going to be some sprinkles early this evening, then mainly clear and comfortable tonight, a low of 60. Sunny and beautiful on Thursday, a high of 78. Friday, sunny skies, a high of 81. Saturday, sunny and warm, a high of 83. Sunday, sunny skies continue. It'll be a little humid with a slight chance of showers late in the day, a high of 83. Right now in Madison, it's 70 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 70. In Waukesha, it's 70. And in Milwaukee, it is 72 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 7:07.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. This is Impact 2024. Inside the RNC, broadcasting live from Media Row. Here are your hosts, Dr. Ken Harris and John McCure.
Hey, thanks for being with us. This is a pretty cool thing we got going on here. Right down the street, the crowd is energized. Right now, Texas Governor Gregory Abbott is on the stage. Let's listen in to the Texas Gov.
Donald Trump fulfilled that duty by eliminating illegal immigration. Under President Trump, we had the lowest illegal border crossings in about 4 decades. By contrast, however, Joe Biden deserted his duty. On his first day in office, he gutted President Trump's policies. And the result has been catastrophic. Under Joe Biden, illegal immigration has skyrocketed. Under his watch, around 11 million immigrants have crossed our border illegally. That's more than the entire population of Michigan. It's twice the population of Wisconsin. Biden has welcomed into our country rapists, murderers, even terrorists, and the price that we have paid has been deadly. Among the many victims was 12-year-old Jocelyn from Houston, Texas, raped and murdered by 2 illegal immigrants. She's one of thousands whose lives have been destroyed by Joe Biden's open border policies. To make matters even worse,
Greg Abbott on the podium at the RNC Inside Fiserv Forum. We'll continue to monitor what is happening inside Fiserv Forum. I talked to Mayor Cavalier Johnson today, and he had a very interesting story. He said he was sitting in his office this morning, and an assistant came in and said, someone who claims that they're from the Trump organization, and I think it's legitimate, said that they would like to talk to you, Mr. Mayor, that Donald Trump would like to talk to you, Mr. Mayor. Said, okay. So we gave him the office number. The person called back, and they identified themselves and said, yeah, Donald Trump wants to talk to you. He's going to call in a couple minutes. And we gave him your cell phone number. They vetted it. I don't know how you guys do that. But, okay. Yeah. So he says he's walking back to his office, and the phone rings. And it's a West Palm Beach phone number. And he answers it. And it's Donald Trump on the phone. He says, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to call, and I should have done this a couple days ago, but I've been a little busy, and you're putting on a great convention. Your city's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And Cavalier Johnson says, I asked him how he's doing, how he's feeling. We hope he's going to fully recover. And he cracked a joke and said, well, that bullet would have been an inch further to the other direction. You and I would have been having this conversation eventually in heaven. Yep. I'm glad to be here. Wow. And I thought just it was a fascinating little thing. I mean, Donald Trump didn't have to do that. It was the right thing to do. It was the nice thing to do. Right. And what also struck me was not so much the conversation, but a point that you were making earlier. Cavalier Johnson was walking in the Deer District. Cavalier Johnson was taking in what's happening in our city. He was doing more than just standing in a podium 6 months ago saying how this would be good economically. Right. He's out and he's involved.
And he's going to have the same thing that I've been preaching for the last 3 days. He's going to have that ability to go back and have that institutional memory so that next time something like this happens, he'll know exactly what to do, who to call, and how to take care of it. And now he'll be able to, and he's young enough to now pass it on to others. And now think of all the tens of thousands of people that have had the experience of having to figure out how to put on a convention of this size.
Yeah.
So now there's no reason, right, that the DNC can't come back to Milwaukee the way it was supposed to years ago. So I think we're in a great place. It's a great time. Moving here from Chicago, I reminded people, and they always, I've been here 30 years, people still remind me, hey, you're from Chicago. People from Chicago, hey, you defected.
Yep.
But what I remind them of, Milwaukee is a great city. With both of us being from Illinois.
Yeah, we're both from Chicago area.
We know some great cities there.
Yep.
And we know some cities that aren't too. Milwaukee is a great city.
I agree with you. And underestimated.
Yep.
And, that's changed a little bit. We always talk about, well, the restaurant scene's great, and, blah, blah, blah. We have a great baseball scene. That's true. It's still underappreciated, and I'm okay with that. We all know it's a great city.
Yep, absolutely.
I talked to somebody from Cleveland who was at the convention in Cleveland, and they said very similar. Cleveland has reclaimed the waterfront. Cleveland has great restaurants.
Gorgeous.
Cleveland's done a lot, and Cleveland also, I hate this term, but is in the, quote, Rust Belt.
Yep.
And it's very similar to Milwaukee. They've got a great city in Cleveland, and people just don't realize it.
And I ended up meeting the guy who was on the committee, or was he the chair of the committee, that recreated the waterfront. And he talked about the fight that it took to change the minds of people from Cleveland so that they could see the vision of what it would be 20 years later.
Interesting.
And now it's the place in the Midwest where people think, hey, well, have you been to Cleveland? I never would have heard that growing up.
Never.
But now people think about, where you going? Oh, we got to go to Cleveland.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is down there.
Absolutely.
The waterfront with the bars and the restaurants and the green space.
Yeah.
They've made it something special.
And so I was there for an event, and we were walking from the hotel to the Baseball Hall of Fame. But it took us longer because it was there were so many things in between that were great. Fountains and monuments that we were like, well, the Baseball Hall of Fame should knock this out the park, and it did.
Hey, have you seen this video they're showing right now at the convention? They show this every night. It's Donald Trump dancing to YMCA.
Yeah.
It's like Donald Trump's greatest dance hits. It's the strangest thing that I've maybe ever seen Donald Trump do, and he does a lot of strange things.
Well, because he can't dance. Anybody
he cannot dance. And it's hilarious. And they play this at the convention every single night. There's two things they play every single night at the convention. They play this dancing montage of Donald Trump, which is just weird. And then every night they play look at him. Every night they play a montage of Joe Biden falling down, dropping ice cream on his lap, hat on crooked. And the two things they do every single night are the dance montage and the Joe Biden falling down montage. This is just crazy. And the crowd goes crazy over there.
I know.
It is 7:14 at WTMJ. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, Doug Burgum, North Dakota governor, one of the candidates to be vice president on the very short list, is scheduled to speak. We'll take a break. You're listening to Impact 2024 at the RNC.
The new fractured boulders we now have in stock are really nice. They're squarer and more rectangular in shape. And they're great for building dry-laid retaining walls. They're much easier to deal with, lock together nicely, and you get less gaps. No wet mortar needed. And we've stocked a multitude of colors. You can use them as an accent item to add character to your dry river or creek beds, too. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our organic mulch is comprised of all trees. Most mulch is made from ground-up pallets, and you don't know what might have been spilled on those pallets. Could be chemicals or who knows what. But not our mulch, we're recycling trees. Many species of hardwoods: cedar, hemlock, light brown, dark brown, mocha, black, red, gold, and caramel. 7 colors to choose from means a mulch to match any exterior. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Frank Daniels, our Madison goldsmith, has an idea.
Bring him in.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
It's great to see you, Frank. What's your idea?
It's a new company policy.
Let's hear it.
You know the world-famous Kessler's warranty?
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed. It's just that simple. Even if you lose a diamond, including the center stone, we'll replace it. All maintenance is free forever. Yes, it really is that miraculous.
Every time I hear that warranty, it blows my mind.
I propose we have a jewelry cleaning policy that's as amazing as that warranty.
What would it say?
Bring us your jewelry and we'll professionally clean it. While you wait, for free. You can come in as often as you want, and we don't care where you bought your jewelry. The only thing that matters is that you want it to look amazing again. We want that too.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. I vote yes. The motion carries.
Congratulations, Frank. Your idea is now company policy.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm John Mercure. Dr. Ken Harris is also here, simulcasting tonight on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. Thanks for hanging out with us. Down the street, the long list of speakers tonight at the Republican National Convention continues. Sarah Phillips, a petroleum engineer, is on the podium right now. She's part of the Everyday American series. So Americans telling their story about why they believe that Donald Trump is the right choice for president. We've got a mayor coming up next, and then Governor Doug Burgum. Let's check in with WTMJ's Greg Matzik, who is there. Greg, how is this story and the other Everyday American stories resonating with the delegates?
Well, people are paying attention. I think overall the people taking the stage are a little bit obscure to those who are in the delegations that are represented here on the floor at Fiserv Forum, but the story is being heard, and anytime an issue pops up and they relate that issue back to Joe Biden, there is a cause for cheer. You had a rancher and his wife, 5th-generation rancher from Arizona, whose property is right on the border in Mexico, and they told a story of it's drugs being illegally smuggled through their property and into the United States. They have had people die due to dehydration. They've had a shootout on their property, and they all point the finger toward Joe Biden. That, of course, drew cheers from the crowd. So that's seemingly what is drawing the round of applause inside the arena. I'd say there is more applause for the more known commodities who have taken stage, representing certain states and so on, and they're a little bit more impassioned, too, maybe more professional at speaking behind a podium. But overall, I don't think it's being poorly received. There is, as we mentioned before, a World War II veteran scheduled to speak just before 9 o'clock. I do believe that's going to draw a standing ovation. None of the other speakers, the Everyday Americans, have drawn a standing ovation.
It's very interesting. Can you sense when some people speak, Greg, that there's more of a not paying attention factor, more people milling about, or people in their seats?
I think you hit the nail on the head, John, right? Most delegations are seated, but still, it's not a full house. So, think of it like the first quarter of a sporting event, right? You're in your seat, you got your brat, you got your beer, you're watching the game, and then people are trickling in, and by end of first quarter or early second quarter, you've got a full arena. So there is that level of movement. The big difference is a lot of that movement's on the floor, right? You're not talking about people moving on the floor of the arena during a game, but you have that here at the RNC, just given how people are dispersed.
It's interesting because Paul Farrow is one of the whips for the convention. That means he's in charge of a section, and I didn't know all this happened. He tells people which signs to wave, which direction to wave them, how long to hold the signs up. So now it's kind of like the curtain's been, they've shown us a peek behind the curtain that I'm not sure I like. Because when I see them waving the signs, Greg, like right now they're going crazy, it sounds like. There are people directing them exactly what to do.
Yeah, there's a sense of choreography for this. Now, I will give a hat tip to Texas because they've got their own little plan. They've got a large delegation, as you might expect. But the cowboy hats waving, it is impossible not to see those. The orange hat that I think Paul Farrow put on you, I see a spattering of those around here, John.
Yes.
You've got some lime green hats. You've got some bright yellow hats, so neon in full effect here on the floor. But the cowboy hat for the delegation of Texas really stands out.
All right, Greg, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is continuing coverage, Impact 2024 at the RNC.
Wait now or wait a little longer. You may have just increased your lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That's how Social Security can work for you. The longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help make the right decision for your situation. You spent decades paying in. Optimize what comes out. Drake & Associates can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. Claim your free Retirement Ready Toolkit that has guides on Social Security. To get our complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
As you age, you start noticing pain in your joints that didn't used to be there. But you don't have to live in pain. When joint pain becomes a reality, schedule your free pain evaluation with Rejuvenex. We'll find where your pain lives and inject powerful, FDA-approved medicines that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees, with some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. While treatments like stem cells can cost close to $10,000 per joint, at Rejuvenex, the cost for your injection can be as low as $65, and almost all major insurance plans cover our treatments, so you may not have to pay anything at all. Call us now to schedule your free pain evaluation, because I'm pretty sure we can help you. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Here at Richlands, we offer both comfort service and expert service.
Our comfort service comes with movie theater popcorn, hot gourmet coffee, upfront pricing, on-time scheduling, plus anything else we can do to keep you comfortable.
Put that on top of honest service from the most friendliest, hard-working people you'll ever meet inside a tire and service center, and well, we'd like to believe we're on the right track to meeting your expectations.
But when your check engine light, tire light, or any other light screams, "Service me," well, that means you're due for our other type of service.
Our expert service. Tires, brakes, belts, mufflers, transmissions, and even engine repair.
Come on into Richlands and put our expert service to the test.
And while you're relaxing, enjoy our comfort services too. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
All right, Dr. Ken Harris is here. I am John Mercure. On the podium now, Governor Doug Burgum. He is the governor of North Dakota. He was the surprise choice when people realized he was one of the three finalists. He's an older guy like Trump. North Dakota does almost nothing to help him electorally. His name was the one that was a surprise, and of course he didn't end up being the choice. But Doug Burgum.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's talk foreign press. Iranian media is right across the hallway from us.
That's right.
And there are a lot of foreign press here in the building.
Yeah, there is. And two of the ones that I usually pay attention to is Reuters and BBC.
Yeah, me too.
And
BBC, I do.
I'm looking at the BBC website, and out of the 6 main stories that are on the page, 4 of the 6 are about the U.S. Trump's VP pick, Biden tests positive for COVID.
That's so interesting.
Trump gunman, Trump is awesome, what young Republicans say. But then if you go over to Reuters, they're interesting because their main story is about J.D. Vance. And then on the right, every single story is about something or someone in the United States. And then they even talk about the fact that Germany will send half the military aid they used to send to Ukraine, despite Trump possibly going to the White House. So already foreign countries and foreign dignitaries, foreign press is starting to lean towards the fact that they believe Donald Trump may be not only the presumptive nominee, but that even Gaza, they're mentioning in the Middle East all the effects of what's happening now in Milwaukee at the RNC, what it will have on the world over the next 4 months.
They pay so close attention that is absolutely remarkable.
Yes, they did.
I was in Europe. This story I'm going to tell you now is probably 2 years old, but we were sitting at a cafe in Paris, and when you're in the cafe, the way the tables are set up, it's a little table, and you sit on either side of it, and you look out the Champs-Élysées. You know, here we kind of sit at tables and face each other and all the... Okay, so we were sitting at a little table. My wife Michelle and I, we're at the table, and we're looking out, and we're having a glass of wine or whatever. And at the table next to us, which is like parallel, also looking out, eventually the couple sitting there could tell that we were from America. And they were from the south of France. And so eventually, you know, you're so close you end up talking to each other. And after we became friendly, the guy said, in a non-negative way, just a genuinely curious way, can I ask you, what is going on over there? We know all your candidates because they follow our politics because we're still considered the leader in the world.
Right.
He said, is it embarrassing that these are the two best choices? And he wasn't being a jackass. He was genuinely curious. He said to me, you sound like you're educated. And here I found out what my job was. He said, how does America have these candidates?
Right.
You know, and I tried to give him a lame answer, but it was basically like, yeah, we are embarrassed. We do deserve better candidates in this. But my point in all that is they pay such close attention to what we do. How many Americans could name who the new prime minister is in England that just got elected?
Right.
Or the one he even replaced that was there for a very long time?
Right.
But they know our candidates for office. We can't even name their leaders.
Right. And it's amazing because many still don't know that they have a parliament and that structure allows them to just get elected. And then you got to go in and figure out who's going to get together and connect.
Yeah.
That's politics.
Yeah, the coalition building they must do.
What we have is the person with the most money and the fewest people, you know, can go in and decide to influence something. And all of a sudden, your guy won.
Then it happens. Your guy becomes the victor.
But you understand and know the power you have throughout the world when other people say what you're thinking. Like you have two old white guys that are running for, like you couldn't find anybody else.
Yeah,
Younger,
really old white guys.
Like really, and it's not that they were white or it's not that they were guys. It's the fact that they were old and they were guys. Like like under 80. Like really.
The old part is the part, right?
The old part is the part, and if it was an old black guy or Hispanic guy or Asian, like no. Like at some point, no. But I think it's a byproduct of the fact that we have young people who don't pay attention to politics. So they don't force the entry of someone that they want into politics to be on that bench seat so that they can come in and take over.
What bothers me is there is no way you can make a reasonable argument that at age 75 or 80 you are at your peak. You can argue that at 30 you are because you're more vibrant and you're energized and you don't need as much sleep. Or you can make the argument, no. 55 or 60 you are because you're wiser, you have experience. Right. There's no way you can make a rational argument that at 75 you're at your peak. So we are putting guys up there that we already know are diminished, don't have as much stamina, don't have as much drive because of what they've already accomplished. It just makes not a lot of sense.
I am a proponent of term limits. That if you can't get it in those 40 years between 35 and 75, it's probably not for you. If you take 40 years, and I guess I'm shooting myself in the foot because he took 50 years, right? But if you can't get it in 40 years, you should probably not be president of the United States. J.D. Vance is 4 years beyond the minimum age, so that's how he can be the vice presidential nominee. But we've got to find somebody that can term limit the age so that at 75, you have to, if you take office at age 75, that should be the latest age you take office. We got you till you're 79 and you're done.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I don't think there's any shame in it. I don't want to be working that much when I'm 80.
Well, look at all the professions that have age limits. The Green Bay Packers only allowed their president to be the president until he's 70.
Right.
Is it 70? I think it's 70.
It's 70.
The Archbishop, and these have both been in the news in Wisconsin lately, the Archbishop can only serve as Archbishop until his is 75.
Yeah.
And then they've decided. Why is that? Because they want to be nice? No, it's not because they want to be nice. It's because they have determined that at that point, you're not at maximum capacity anymore.
What federal law enforcement does, you can come in at 22, you have to leave at 57. We don't care what you're doing, what your job is, where you are, who got appointed, you're out. There's a reason for that. You saw it last Saturday when those agents ran up and protected. Do you really want to do that at 60? No.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's Dr. Ken Harris. I'm John Mercure. We're monitoring what's happening down the street here at Fiserv Forum as the convention, day 3, and now night 3 begins to ramp up, building towards J.D. Vance and his wife taking to the podium coming up in just a little bit. You're listening to 101.7 The Truth and WTMJ.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have 2 big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times, and what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Now's when the summer heat is working your AC system into overtime. And after this long, it may be on borrowed time. But some of these systems really can't last, especially Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your AC system says its final goodbye, think of the man in the red van and the over 60 years of experience that Quality Heating brings to your home. To get your new Armstrong Air Pro Series AC system installed right and right away.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you have over 20 HVAC techs working with you that each have over 20 years of experience, it gives you confidence to be able to go out there and talk reliability, integrity, value, all the things that matter when you hire someone to get the job done right the first time. These words mean everything to us, and we know they mean a lot to you. And that's what you'll get when you hire the man in the red van.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to the president, is now at the podium wearing a dark blue dress, the red background of Fiserv Forum, all decked out in red, white, and blue on day 3 of the Republican National Convention. Kellyanne Conway. Our Greg Matzik is in Fiserv Forum. Greg, what was the reception like for Kellyanne Conway, who can be a polarizing figure?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty consistent throughout, John. You know, I think what we've learned through covering this RNC, and I'm sure we'll see it at the DNC as well, is that figures who are polarizing, when they're among a group of like-minded individuals from a party standpoint, they're going to receive, at the very least, token applause. I think what we saw last night in a house full of Trump supporters, we've seen people who have vehemently attacked Trump's policies ultimately come to his support. So there is this sort of ever-changing dynamic within the party where those who are competition to the presidential nominee end up siding with him regardless of what sort of barbs they tossed. So polarizing figures, some that lean a little further right than others. I think it's still, you know, among a group of people trying to fight for what they believe is the right move come November.
Did you listen to the Teamster president the other night? Do you think that's going to have an effect on how people view Donald Trump, or is it going to sway votes?
I didn't listen to it, Dr. Ken. I got to be honest with this convention, as I'm watching it, right, the intermixed are a handful of ladies, but it's one older white guy after another. That's what I'm seeing in front of me, and there's general applause. Some are a little bit more than others, but in the idea of swaying votes, I'm trying to think what could sway votes. Nikki Haley's support toward Donald Trump, I think that helps some, but certainly not all. I think you've got a faction of people who are trying to look at Donald Trump and say he is the right person, regardless of what his policies might say. Maybe they're avoiding something that may have detracted them in the past, but I think collectively they're trying to win this ticket. So even if you're not totally on board with Donald Trump's thinkings, you're likely voting for the ticket if you're in this building tonight.
All right, Greg, you eat like nobody else eats. As a matter of fact, I think I saw you eat here in Panther Arena twice today. Is there food over there?
There are basic concessions set up. You can get a beer. You can get a cocktail, it looks like. I've seen some pretzels. Pretty basic concessions, I would say. Nowhere near the level of food that's at Convention Fest, where I had a lovely banh mi sandwich today, a little Vietnamese pork. It was delicious. I was eating that while wrangling down a guest for you earlier today, John. So
that's what I saw you eating, and it looked good.
I think I had some cilantro in my teeth, but it was great. It was great. So there is some food available, but it's not the full-on concessions like you'd see for a Bucs game.
So this is what I had for lunch. I bought a jumbo popcorn, which is a little smaller than the big one you get in the movie theaters, but it's big. I bought a large diet Dr. Pepper and a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Wow.
So that's a great lunch, isn't it? And that cost me $23.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't great. Audience. I think the popcorn was from the Marcus Center in North Shore 3 weeks ago.
Well, with food allergies, I could only eat one of those three things you bought. So there you go.
Which one?
Popcorn.
Greg, if you could have one of the three and that's all you're eating for dinner, the Reese's, the popcorn, or the Diet Dr. Pepper, what are you going with?
That is a good guy. It's hard for me to turn down a Reese's. I do like Dr. Pepper. Boy, is that an underrated soda, though? It's the kind of soda where the Diet actually tastes pretty close to the regular, maybe the closest. So I'm a pretty big Dr. Pepper fan.
Yeah, all right, me too. But, that kind of runs through you. And I wanted the big popcorn because I thought that would help, fill me up, but it's popcorn, so it doesn't really.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys a question, if it's okay, because, there's a lot of people taking the stage, as I mentioned, who have publicly absolutely hammered Donald Trump in years or weeks past, including Nikki Haley, including the vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance. Is it believable that you can, in one breath, on one day, months ago, weeks ago, years ago, absolutely hammer Donald Trump and his policies, and then in the very next breath, announce your level of support? And we're going to see this at the DNC in a couple of weeks as well, but my wonder is it believable?
I'd say yes.
I agree.
Yes.
You go first.
I watched Paul Ryan, who was not a fan of Mitt Romney, all of a sudden be all in and support him. And, Mitt was on the fringe of the Republican Party at the time, right? He was borderline, you could probably call him a progressive. But as soon as he got the nomination, Paul Ryan, you watched his family, everyone fell into line. And so I think it's just it's an unfortunate part of politics that when you hit that fork in the road, they remind you there's no fork. You either follow the road or you get off. And I think that's what Paul Ryan did with Trump. That's what Bush did. That's what his vice president did. And that's why we're having this conversation today.
Greg, this is a perfect lead-in because that's why J.D. Vance is important here. Because J.D. Vance, as everybody's been reporting now, compared Donald Trump to Hitler, said very bad things about Donald Trump. And then Donald Trump endorsed him in his run for the Senate, and he won. So as a pragmatist, he said, well, Trump helped me, so I guess I'm on this thing because Trump's helping to feed my family now, and his choice as VP is so important because he will get up there, and I believe he will directly, and I haven't seen a copy of the speech, but I think he will address it directly. I think he will say, look, I didn't always agree with everything Donald Trump said. Look, I learned better. I took time to get to know Donald Trump, the man. I took time to take a deeper look at his policies, and I did say bad things about him, but that's not the Donald Trump that I know. And so if J.D. Vance can say that, then their hope is that other people like suburban wives in Menominee Falls and Brookfield who don't like Donald Trump's character can also take a second look.
And these are also two guys who differ significantly on abortion.
That's right. That's right. The issue that Democrats are winning on.
Yes.
Greg, what do you think?
I'm conflicted on it, right? It just sounds so disingenuous. And I get what you're saying. Maybe there is more FaceTime together, John, where they can sort of sit behind closed doors and discuss things and maybe even challenge each other a little bit. I'd be curious what those conversations were like with former President Trump and J.D. Vance leading up to his nomination. And I don't know. I'm not behind that closed door. Maybe they hash things out. Maybe they discuss their own strategy for handling the abortion issue come November, because that is, as you mentioned, John, something Democratic Party is winning right now. They're doubling down on it. So it feels disingenuous to me, but I don't see what's behind closed doors. And again, you're going to see and hear more of this in a couple of weeks.
I'm not even saying they believe it. I don't think they believe it. I think Nikki Haley said everything last night, and she did it, to Dr. Kent's point, as a pragmatist. She did it because she's 50 and still wants to hold high office. I don't think she believes Donald Trump's a good guy. I think she thinks he's a piece of crap. I think when you looked at her last night talking, it hurt to watch her trying to say that. And by the way, I think it hurt watching him try to listen to it.
Right.
I think they do not like each other.
Not at all.
And this is just like a marriage of convenience.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's riding the wave.
That's part of the struggle I have with politics in general. Trying to believe what I believe is real and trying to figure that out. That's not always the easiest thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Greg Matzek, WTMJ's Greg Matzek at Fiserv Forum. Been great to have you with us, Greg. Have a great rest of the night.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
It is 7:42 at WTMJ. I believe this is Anna Paulina Luna. She is a U.S. Congresswoman. She is on the days right now. Coming up in just a moment here, a Medal of Honor recipient, another decorated war hero after that, and then Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's very interesting. She'll be on the podium as well. It's 7:43. We get you ready for J.D. Vance, which comes your direction shortly. You're listening to Impact RNC with Dr. Ken Harris and John Mercure.
When you want the best medical attention, you don't just go to anybody, you go to a specialist. The same should be true with your car or truck. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. When your vehicle needs service, take it to a specialist, an Adam member new car dealer. Adam dealers use factory warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians specially trained on the advanced technology on your vehicle. They have all the latest manufacturer service bulletins and will know if your issue is covered by an existing warranty or if there are any recalls. And despite what you might assume, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine maintenance and tires. Now, knowing all that, why would you even consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
For great paying job opportunities, visit adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Wholesale mulch? No problem. We deliver to residential or wholesale accounts, and we can supply you with whatever volume of the highest quality mulch you need. Nobody around here has more mulch than Erickson's. We'll deliver you a 1-yard pickup truck load all the way up to 100 yards in a walking floor trailer. And if you just need a little bit, swing by and we'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket or two. It's the best mulch you'll find. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our decorative stone is available by the handful for pickup, all the way up to 24-ton load deliveries. And our stone is superlative. We scour the countryside, countrywide, from Arizona to the Carolinas. We search pretty much the whole U.S. of A. to find you easily the best stone selection in southeastern Wisconsin. See a rainbow of decorative stone colors to match any exterior decor. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstad. It's swimming season, or for some of us, golfing or gardening season, but you're not out there enjoying your favorite hobby because you're sidelined from arthritic joint pain. Bone-on-bone pain in your knees or hips, maybe? Here's what you do. You call QC Kinetics. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you the lasting relief you need. QC Kinetics is helping patients all the time. I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. It's not sorcery, it's technology, and you don't need surgery. Call QC Kinetics. The local professionals at QC Kinetics in Greenfield and in Mequon are ready to help you. Here's the phone number, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you're in town for the RNC or you just love a world-class free dinner, experience the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club this week. Check it out. I love the Fox and Hounds, one of the most affordable and unique dining destinations in Wisconsin. When I want to show off our state, I show off the Fox and Hounds. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner's free. Enjoy a tender steak, your favorite seafood or pasta dish, a big fresh salad, even the steak and lobster, any dinner on the menu. The second one is free. Desserts, I love those, are also buy one, get one free. The Fox and Hounds is tucked into the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest. Spectacular setting just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is a Wisconsin summer must-see. That patio in the woods is spectacular. Buy one dinner tonight, get one free at the Fox and Hounds, now welcoming reservations for large RNC groups. For everybody in the group, you buy one dinner, you get one free. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
It's Heiser's Red, White, and Blue event. Service or upgrade your ride today with star-spangled discounts you deserve. Let our certified technicians get your current ride road trip ready for July festivities. Or work with our sales consultants to find the perfect new vehicle for all your summer destinations. Plus, enjoy our exclusive Safe and Sound program with every vehicle sale. See details and offers at Heiser.com and celebrate your independence today. At Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You're listening to Impact 2024, Inside the RNC on WTMJ.
John Mercure and Dr. Ken Harris with you. All right, we've got one. This is our final segment. I want to split the segment, Dr. Ken, if we can. Right. At the very end, we'll talk about a brief preview of J.D. Vance. Tonight's his night as the VP candidate. But first, I want to talk about some breaking news. Joe Biden is being quoted as now asking his advisors, do we believe Kamala Harris can win? Joe Biden is being quoted as saying, if a medical condition arrives, I'm open to discussions from removing myself from the race. And Joe Biden has been diagnosed with COVID. Could this be laying the groundwork for he's going to step aside without having to say, I don't think I can win. I'm stepping aside because it's a medical issue, and I trust Kamala Harris.
I believe that his advisors are looking for a path, not forward, but away.
An exit strategy.
An exit strategy so that it looks natural and that it's something that you would think about logically and go, oh, yeah, I could see that. Will Kamala have the, I hate to use the word, chutzpah, to actually win?
That's going to be very interesting to see.
It's very interesting.
She's not a shoo-in to do better in the polling. She's not a shoo-in to be more popular. Maybe. We all know this. Most polls, including polls that there was an ABC Axios poll, I think it was, that Democrats now say by 60% that Joe Biden's not the best candidate for president.
Correct.
So they have to find a way to make a change, right? If
without
they want
damaging
to win
him, without diminishing the office of the presidency at that time. And the only way to do it, the only way to keep Kamala Harris on the ticket is for him to remove himself as president so that she can become the incumbent and then have the power and have to go against Donald Trump and not J.D. Vance.
There's so little time. There's such a short window. You've talked to her. Do you think she can win in this election cycle against Donald Trump?
In this cycle, with the momentum that Donald Trump has, the assassination attempt, the Iranian thoughts, it's not likely. Not likely.
It's just not. There's just not a lot of time. And everything happening for Donald Trump right now is... Right. I mean, the documents case dismissed. Now it's been refiled, but dismissed. The assassination attempt where he basically looked like a superhero standing up, pumping his fist and blood on his face.
With
and all
an
that.
iconic photo that is going to read, regardless of what happens, he will always be known for that day.
And it's going to be in every ad that they run.
Yes.
Every single ad that they run, that photo is going to be in there. The debate with Biden, I mean, it's just like this train is...
Yeah.
I saw in Real Clear Politics today, they had a list of polls and how things have shifted.
Mm-hmm.
In many states where it was clear Democrat, it shifted to only leaning Democrat. Every toss-up state that was listed as toss-up, every single one except for one, and I can't remember the state, now is listed as leaning Trump.
Yeah.
So they need to do something. There are also reports that the Trump team is now looking at how Harris could change the race.
And one of the things we have to remember is that in the end, it's going to be a race on November 5th. Wisconsin is virtually, well, let me see, Pennsylvania, Ohio, what was it? Pennsylvania, Ohio, and one other state, maybe Michigan.
Michigan and Wisconsin.
And there's no need for Wisconsin anymore. Biden could win Wisconsin, but with those three, with J.D. Vance, those three states, we're done.
That's why Ohio is so important.
It's so important.
I think we can talk a lot about J.D. Vance being chosen because he's young and he's the first millennial on a major party ticket. That's all valid, and that helps him. But what helps the most is he is from Ohio.
Right.
The vice presidential candidate, typically two roles. Their roles are to be the pit bull, to be the mean guy, to be the guy that can stir it up so that the guy at the top of the ticket can sit back and appear presidential. And the other role is to win the state that you're from.
Yes.
So that's why Doug Burgum, why would they have ever chosen Doug Burgum with, what do they have, 3 electoral votes in North Dakota?
Right.
J.D. Vance, if he can win Ohio and lock in Ohio, that's huge. That's why he's on the ticket.
Yeah. And you have to say, initially when you hear it, you think to yourself, a 39-year-old guy from Ohio in the foothills of possibly West Virginia, and he's hillbilly elegy. Like, really? You want to pick this guy? And then you hear, but he was a Marine, and he went to Yale, and he's a lawyer. And
he's got a cute family.
He's got a cute family. But then you look at the other side, and you go, it is the antithesis of what you have. He's literally giving you a future based on this picture you have of the Vance family.
So what are you looking for tonight? J.D. Vance will take the stage here coming up in about an hour and a half.
I think that he has to do two things. He has to create this understanding of who he is, and then he has to paint a picture of his strategic plan for what the future of America is with him. Because people hate for me to say it, but at this age, Donald Trump may not finish these 4 years in office. And you have to have somebody that's going to hit the ground running. Now, the only negative against him, which I'm sure the Democrats will hammer to no end, is the fact that he's only been a senator for a year and a half, and he doesn't know his head from a hole in the wall as it relates to politics. And, he's on probably the lowest committees you could come up with that barely need any real security clearance, but one thing that's positive, he's already cleared through the military there. He already has a background. So those types of things are are manageable, but experience-wise, he's going to have to be brought up to speed fairly fast. And that's why I say if he debates with Kamala Harris, she would destroy him.
Donald Trump has entered Fiserv Forum.
Yep.
He is there for tonight. Big bandage once again on his right ear. He wore a red tie the first night. He wore a blue tie the second night. Today it's once again a blue suit, and it's a red and blue striped tie. The podium is empty. Donald Trump has ascended the stairs to where his family is sitting. A standing ovation, Donald Trump clapping himself. I think the most important thing that will happen during J.D. Vance being on stage tonight has nothing to do with anything he will say.
What's that?
I think he'll say a lot of stuff. I think the picture at the end of J.D. Vance with his young family, cute, toddler age, and his pretty wife, standing and waving and shaking hands, that message of young, vibrant, the next generation, someone, as you've reminded me several times, could only run for president beginning 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that imaging is going to speak more than anything that he says. I think what he says is important, but that picture at the end that we're going to see when he officially accepts the nomination and he holds his wife's hand and the children are there maybe clinging to his leg or awkwardly waving out, that's the real value.
And the background of poverty from rags to riches.
Yeah, that part will be impressive.
Abusive family, drug abusing, mother, those types of things that are going to resonate across race, class, everything, religion.
Yep.
Where somebody knows somebody that's been affected by something that he's had in his life.
It's going to be interesting. So a Wisconsinite, before we get to J.D. Vance, will take the stage, and he will give his speech. He's an American hero. He's Sergeant William Peckrell, a decorated war hero, World War II vet. He's a D-Day veteran. He's supposed to go in about 40 minutes, a little bit after 8:30. Then Donald Trump Jr. will speak. Then it will be Usha Vance. She's the wife of J.D. Vance, so she will speak leading into her husband, Senator J.D. Vance. He will give the speech that wraps things up on day 3.
Is the irony lost on you that his wife is from India and their kid's name is Vivek?
That is interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
He's Dr. Ken Harris. I am John Mercure. Special thanks to Brandon Snide, who produced this show and the show before it. His behind is probably ready to get out of that chair. Thank you, Brandon, for that. Dr. Ken, thanks for hanging out. This was fun. We'll be back tomorrow night as we head into Donald Trump night here at the convention.
I've got a long day tomorrow. I've got to do this. I've got to go over there. I've got an 8 o'clock show over there. It's just going.
It's going.
And then I'm leaving here and I'm going over to the Fiserv to watch Donald Trump.
This is good stuff. It is 7:58 at WTMJ and 101.7 The Truth.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management.